5. You know what I'm saying? And right now, man, I just want to talk about like loving your family regardless of the shit like that. Because, it's really incredible that we live in a time where a lot of the times our parents and the people that are close to us, the people that we love, the people that we hold dear, the people that nurtured us, the people that cared for us can be the same people a lot of times that, hurt us or, subconsciously help us, put us in this space where we're living life now from a cold heart just because someone decided, to pass some trauma, to pass some pain, some hurt. A lot of the times it'd be unintentional because you know what, man, at the end of the day, your parent is your parent, your father is your father, your mother is your mother. And your parent, your father, your mother, they love you regardless of what they have done to you. A lot of the times, our families may come from this deep subconscious pain that they have experienced in their life. So a lot of the times, a person might feel like their parents inflicted certain pain, inflicted certain wounds, inflicted certain hurt on them and stuff like that. And this may cause a child down the line to, hate their parents, really hate their father, really hate their mother a lot of the times. And this can break this distant relationship between the father, the mother, and the child and stuff like that, right? And a lot of the times the parents themselves are, unaware of the situation that they may have created and stuff like that. But we as children that have access to all this information on the internet, we're really in an incredible time where we can connect on the internet, where we can talk to people that, have went through similar experience that can help us and stuff like that. It's a really incredible time because we can use these tools that are available for us on the internet that our parents didn't necessarily have, these tools that we have access to and stuff like that, to really start to do the shadow work, to really start to heal, to really start to yourself, to really start to, just work on yourself, work on your heart. 'Cause what, man? A lot of the times our parents or family can be the same people that hurt us. It can be the same people that disturb us. It can be the same people that mentally disturb our mind and stuff like that. So now the mind is in like a frame of reference of reality where a person can be looking at their life from a state of being of pain and hurt, and a person may not even know how to open up their heart again to anyone else. Like a lot of the times, the people that are closest to you in your life were the same people that hurt you. It's like a person almost starts to believe that they have to create this alternative ego to even live their life, where a person creates this identity to cope with their reality, where a person is even distant from themselves. Because think about it, your heart is right here. But if your heart is frozen, if a person is cold hearted because of their past experiences and things like that, right? A person can't live authentically. A person can't truly live with integrity and things like that. And if a person does not from an authentic space, if a person is not living from a space of integrity, then that person is not going to be able to bring their full truth to the table. That person is not going to bring themselves holistically to the circumstances and situation in front of them. Because what we have people that don't really know how to be themselves. We have people that are afraid to be themselves and stuff like that, right? Because a lot of the times, like if a child can't be themselves in their environment, if a child can't express who they truly are in their environment, especially if a person grew up with parents that were, extremely strict, parents that were extremely limiting, parents that put them in this space, in this bubble. Because you know what, man? A lot of the times are themselves. They came from a space where they were limited. They came from a space where they were restricted. They came from a space where they were traumatized by their parents. This is the space that our parents, a lot of the times, when they parent us, that's the space we live from subconsciously. And a lot of the times, they may take these actions and behaviors to hurt their children by accident, although a lot of the times they don't mean to do this. And you know what, man? It's really, really interesting because when I talk to my father personally, my father never meant to hurt me. My father never, meant to put me in a circumstance situation where, um, I'm scared of him, afraid of him. And my father never meant to put me in a situation where I'm going to be traumatized. But you know what, man? A person, when they grow up, they have to realize that their parents themselves is subconsciously in these spaces. They're going through these phases as well, where they're realizing these things. But we're in a really fortunate time nowadays because you know what? We have access to the internet, and the internet is such a wonderful tool to learn and connect with people that went through experiences like you, because this is going to allow a person to heal. This is going to allow a person to understand what's going on within them faster. But a person really has to understand that, their parents never had access to these tools. So when our parents dealt with us when we were children, you know, they came from a space of hurt. They came from a space of pain. But depending on if you resonate with this and you share these experiences, you share these situations where, a, a parent in your life may have hurt you, a parent in your life may have subconsciously incidents, right? No parent, no mother, no father wants to ever put pain, put hurt, put trauma in and create that wound for them. But a person has to understand when they're growing up is, the parent themselves, that they were hurt. They were in a space of pain. So when they have that child, when they have that baby, it's a very beautiful moment for them. But a lot of the times, based on them being in a very limited state of being, you know, a state of being that may not be so accepting to everything and stuff like that, they may look at that child as this child needs some form of discipline, or this child needs to be limited in some way, shape, or form and stuff like that. Because you know what, man? I had to realize that, as children, we move freely. We're able to express things a lot more easily. We're able to, not be in this we're not in this limited space, but allows our parents themselves, they be in this limited state of being. They be in this limited space and shit like that. And had them having that lack of maneuverability mentally or emotionally out of the times, doesn't allow them to really flow with their child, doesn't really allow them to resonate with their child's true needs and wants and stuff like that. Because we're at the end of the day, we're all individual spaces, we're all individual beings and stuff like that. And each individual beings has their own signature energy, has their own archetype, has their own character. And a lot of the times when a person has their own character, has their own resonance, what they resonate with, a parent may not resonate with creativity. A parent may just be very limited to the and they may subject you to that left brain as well and be like, hey, you know what, look at things this way. Limit yourself to this and stuff like that. But a lot of times they was limited in their life, so a lot of the times what they limit us, what the limitations they put upon us, it just be things that was put on them, and they subconsciously believe that, hey, you have to be in this as well because I'm your parent, you have to follow me. But these limitations is placed on us because our parents themselves, they were limited, they were hurt. So never get mad when you hurt you, because a lot of the times they don't really mean it. No parent in existence ever wants their child. It's just something that they subconsciously do because they may be in the state of being that's traumatic. Something happened to them. They went through some trauma, some pain, some trials, some trip in their life, and that space inside of them wasn't healed yet. So when the parent has a child, they may subject their child subconsciously to these, traumatic experience, these expressions that come from this state of being of awareness of, this internal conflict that they project onto the child. So now the child lives their life as well with this internal state of being of, this internal conflict where they may not truly know how to be themselves. They may not truly know how to be truly know how to live a life, something that's from living from truth, living from their authentic truth. Because you know what, man, when I talk to my parents personally and I find out and I learn about the stuff they went through when they was children, really incredible because I'm really fortunate to go through less of that trauma. I'm really fortunate to experience less of that on a percentage level. And because it's just like it's just wild, man. When I talk to my dad, when I talk to my mom about them, when I learn about what they went through and stuff like that, and see how much less I had to go through in this lifetime and stuff like that, it really, really humbles me. It really, really makes me realize how much of a fortunate position that I am in to, my purpose, to really step into my power, to really use what I have, as much awareness I have, to, create a reality that actually makes me happy. But the reality that makes you happy will also make them happy because, the gift of happiness is contagious, man. When you're happy, other people around you are happy as well. Other people pick it up or pick from you. But a lot of the times, our parents may be in this state of being that's, they may be in this self hatred. They may be in this state of being that's negative, and starts to accumulate that as well based upon them just expressing that around and stuff like that. So the child ends up being in this very limited state of being. The child ends up being in this limited state of awareness where now the child may be afraid to express themselves. The child is now afraid to be themselves because now this very strict parent is now projecting this extreme strictness on them to the point that a child may develop. I remember when I was a kid, I was just always depressed. I was like just sitting in my corner, like not knowing, unsure how to be myself. And me growing up in that environment, when I became an adult, I really did not know how to express myself from an authentic space. I really did not know how to just simply be myself without worrying about the opinions of others, because I had to worry as a kid about the expressions, about the projections of how my folks at home are going to look at me, and that came with me outside of home as well, because it became like post-traumatic stress that you carry with you. So a lot of the times it makes you kind of look at the outside world before your internal world, where now we prioritize other people's perspectives rather than prioritizing our own perspective, rather than prioritizing ourselves, putting ourselves first and stuff like that. You know, so yeah, man, it's really humbling. It's really crazy, because like, man, it's because when a person grows up from when a person's parents are damaged and they pass on that damage to them, no parent that actually wants to do that consciously, but it's all happening subconsciously. Like, there's no mother, there's no father that actually wants to hurt their child, and every time a mother and a father hurt their child, they always regret it at the end of the day. But it's because they're in this subconscious pattern that is limited, that they don't know how to get out of. They don't know how to view the situation otherwise, because that's what they were taught. That's what they were subjected to. And if that's what they were subjected to, that's what the parent's going to subject their child as well, and things like that, right? So it's really crazy when you start to get out of that pattern and you have to fight yourself, but kind of play out as an example for your parent as well. And they start to develop this curve themselves just by seeing you do it, because you know what? Subconsciously, they want to do it as well. No one wants to stay in trauma. No one wants to stay in fear. No one wants to live that is inspired by fear. Everyone wants to get out of fear subconsciously, but they may not know how to do it just based upon being in a limited state of being in a mind that produces thoughts and feelings of fear, stress, doubt, having a lack of abundance, a lack of something. Because it's really interesting, man. Like, if a person doesn't get the nurturing they need, if a person doesn't get the love they need and stuff like that, right? The space that they grow up into is of lack. So they end up looking outside of themselves when they grow up for a solution inside of them. But the whole time, the solution is inside of you. This is why a lot of the times we get lost in the external world. We get lost in external things, people, places, trying to even like people please, where a child, like, has to learn how to please his parents when he was a kid, because he's not good enough. And then a child goes outside of the outside of the home and tries to please people outside the home, because that's what happened at home and shit like that. So, man, it's really wild. It's really humbling. That's why it's like, man, that's why it's like, yeah, man. It's like you really cannot hate your parent no matter what. Like, yeah, at the beginning it might play out that way. There may be some negative between the child and the parent and things like that. But it all really start to make sense when you talk to your parent. You start to understand and see, okay, where did this person happen to them when they were younger, and things like that. It really starts to bring the full picture. And a lot of it, my parents didn't even feel, parents in general might not feel comfortable to open up, because a lot of the times, if your dad is just doing, hey, be a man, be this. You're not supposed to open up emotionally. You're not supposed to let your emotions flow. You're supposed to stay in this restricted way, because that's what it means to be a man. But here's the thing, though: a man that is not emotionally intelligent will not be able to pick up, the emotions, the vibe, the conscious awareness of others in order to understand, okay, how to maneuver and to help in the right way and stuff like that. Like a man without emotional intelligence, a woman without emotional intelligence, can't be holistic, can't be fully tapped in, things like that, right? And a lot of the times, our parents were stopped from being fully tapped in with themselves. That's why a lot of the times the parent themselves, they can't fully tap in with the child. They can't resonate with the child. They can't resonate with the child because they themselves understand themselves. So if we live in the world of parents that understand themselves, don't even know themselves, there is no way in fucking hell that these any of these parents can like understand their child or resonate with their child or actually really provide the circumstances, situations needed to actually give their child the tools, the support needed for them to truly actually grow up into the adult, like, with a healthy self-image. Instead, a lot of people grow up with this negative self-image. They grow up with this negative, damaged perspective about themselves, because a lot of the times, not only is the child living in the past, not only is the child living in a damaged mentality, but also the parents are living in a damaged, very limited perspective very limited state of being, emotionally, subconsciously, and stuff like that. So, if the parents are living in this limited emotional mental spectrum where their mind is limited based upon the spectrum, then automatically, the child being raised in that environment is getting very limited in their spectrum and how they interpret reality and things like that, right? So then this is automatically going to create, not only are the parents coming from a space of having energy blockages, their child is also going to develop and inherit these energy blockages where if a person in their family they're told, hey, you got to be a man, you got to be a man, and there's nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, like, you also have emotional intelligence. You also have to be able to heal your heart. You can't be walking around with a damaged heart, hope and damaging someone else, because hurt people. So what we have right now is parents that are coming from a space where they're hurt. Their parents did something to them, and their parents before them did something to them. So you know, now that the parent may develop, they may have a child, they may not really know how to provide or how to take care of that child, giving them they need, the support they need, the help. They may not even be able to give them the attention because you know what? They might be busy at work, they might be busy doing other things and stuff like that. So they may not necessarily have the time to really truly participate in that child's life. Because you know what, man? Work takes away the parent from the child and stuff like that. A lot of the time parents could be busy at the job, can't pay attention to the child. But here's the thing though, right? The point is that these traumas that our parents carry and these traumas that our parents pass on to us that we play out in our lives and stuff like that. A person really has to have the courage to get out of these things. Because when the child gets out of these things, it also encourages the parent themselves to start to get out of these things themselves. And it's really like this joyful experience. It's really this reunion because once you connect back with your inner child, once you really take care of that emotional vibrational wound, and once you're really able to embody that authenticity, coming from a space of integrity, really living your truth, that really, really, really empowers your parents, that really, really empowers people around you to come from their space of integrity, to live from their space of truth, for them to be the authentic version of themselves rather than hiding who they truly are based upon the negative experiences that happened to them when they were younger. So, the trauma itself makes a person afraid to be themselves. Where if a parent got traumatized by their parents and their parents got traumatized, and we have this cycle of generational curses, and now people are afraid to put their character on stage, and now the child's experiencing that. Someone has to break the curse. Someone has to put forth. Someone has to be courageous. Someone has to start the cycle, a new cycle of awareness, right? And this might be you, might be me, because you know what? We can't continue living in a world where people are hurt, people are damaged, people are angry, where it's like now people need to go to, anger management classes. People need to go to all these things for them to figure, and there's nothing wrong with that either. A person should get the help they need. That's a wonderful, fantastic thing. So, and there's effective tools out here to help people really reconnect with who they are, really heal who they are. Why would a person ever in existence want to live from a damaged space? Especially if they're aware of it. Because damaged people just damage people. Hurt people just hurt people. But wonderful people create wonders for other people and things, right? So we're all really in a new time where, because we have the internet now and we can actually connect with people that went through these experiences, healed from these experiences, and now we can actually share these experiences in a community setting, in a setting where we can be open and honest, and person that healed can show the other person that was unhealed how to heal. So now more than ever, with the internet as a tool, now more than ever, the power right in our fingertips to connect with each other, to share our experience, to actually get out of these things and really start to embody who we are from an authentic, space of integrity. Because you know what, man, when I was younger, I would be myself. My parents, they scared the shit out of me, and I didn't want to show my true face, bro, because I don't want to come naked. That was a scary thing. I'd rather be my fake me, because the fake me pleased people. The fake me got me to fit in with people, and that made me not get hurt. So I don't have to worry about truly coming as myself. But when I truly started to be myself, it's more rewarding. And you know what? I'm still in the cycle of that pain, but it still really, really humbles me to just think back and look at, damn, this is the place where my parents came from. And now I have the opportunity, I have the tools available in my fingertips. I have the access to all educational tools. I have the access to the time to really do the shadow work and heal myself and just bring my fullness, bring my wholeness to the table. Because even like my character, I was scared to even show that to the world. I was scared to be myself. I didn't want to, when I was a child, being myself got me hurt. So why the hell would I want to be myself in front of people and stuff like that, right? But being myself became really rewarding because it meant that I didn't have to live in these shackle chains. It meant that I didn't have to shackle my mind any longer. It meant that I didn't have to worry what other people thought of me. It meant that I didn't have to be scared of the world anymore. So it really is very freeing. But to get to that space, has to be honest with themselves. A person really has to work on themselves. A person really has to do the shadow work on themselves, uncover these things. Really, is if a person has a cold heart, you got to really excavate that ice around your heart and let these pieces fall, let these things melt, allow yourself to open up and warm up again. But it's a lot more easier said than done because the damage has already been done, and the accumulation, the cycle has already happened. Because once something is in motion, it's hard to get it off of out of motion, right? Where it's like if a person is in the cycle of crime, it's hard to get them back into living with society in a way where now they're a productive member of society rather than a damaged member of society. So it's like once a cycle is in motion, it's difficult to get out of. It's difficult to break that motion and start a new motion. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the honesty comes in. That's where the shadow work comes in. Because if a person is not honest with themselves, if a person it doesn't really is not, because man, it's amazing because there's a lot of people that would rather stay damaged, people that would rather live with the pain. There's a lot of people that would rather cope with the trauma and all types of external behaviors and habits that are, of an addiction nature, where people become addicted to things outside of them just to cope outside of them. But what if a person just dealt with what's going on inside of them? What if a person really just dealt with that pain within and breathed it out and just let it go because it doesn't to you. It was something that was passed on to you, but it's not something that belongs to you. So pain is passed on, but it's not something that has to stay in us because you know what, man? Because one motherfucker decided to hurt his family, 300 and passed on that pain generationally, doesn't mean that the rest of the generation, the rest of the chain has to carry out these obligations because that's a form of control. That's a form of shaming. That's a form of gaslighting. That's a form of manipulating. That's a form of keeping someone in a box just by telling them, don't you stick to the system. This is how you're supposed to live your life. And that's not cool. That's not attractive. That's very demonic. That's very devilish because the only person that would try to do that to you, someone that's trying to control you. And I'm not a fan of control. So when I was a child, I had to rebel against control. I didn't want to be controlled. I don't like to be controlled. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be valued, be appreciated, just for simply being me. Because that's not too much of a price to ask. That's the thing. So it's like, man, but here's the thing, though. So a person really got to understand, man. Parents came from these spaces of damage and hurt, and they pass on these mentalities, these thoughts and feelings through these expressions of pain and hurt onto the child. The child takes on these expressions, and the child, start to live their life from this limited, constricted space and things like that, right? But if you have the tools, if you have the courage, and I know everyone has the courage inside of them, have to bring it out of them and things like that. If a person has the courage, a person can start to do these things going on inside of them, and they can start to go to that next space, go to that next experience. Because you know what, man, life is truly beautiful. Life is truly magnificent. But a person has to allow themselves to embody that beauty, to embody that magnificence that they already have access to, that they already have access to. Life is beautiful only if we allow ourselves to embody that internal beauty that is already naturally God given. Because there's no human in the world that doesn't have a purpose. Everyone has a purpose they have to tap into. And whatever negative, traumatic experiences that you went through, that's going to be a part of your purpose in life to get out of these things. Because we shouldn't be passing these things generationally onto the next. No, we should be getting out of these things and we should be
beautify the next generation. The next generation should be way more beautiful than the last generation because that's what creates this new cycle of hope. That's what creates this new cycle of love. That's what creates this new cycle of joy. That's what creates this new planetary shift where now we can actually, celebrate ourselves rather than live a life where we're ashamed of ourselves because somebody hurt us when we was younger and now we don't know how to be ourselves anymore. We shouldn't have to live in a world of a fake world where everyone is fake, where everyone presents its face that's not them, that everyone, people are just scared to be themselves. And, it's all coming from the space of hurt. It's all coming from the space of pain. It's all coming from this trauma and things like that, right? So, and no one should hold on to any trauma because trauma, where a person creates drama in their life and a person creates drama for other people just because, like I said, hurt people hurt people. So if we all just continue the cycle of hurting people, hurting people, hurting people, what will come of us as a humanity? Not much. Because if we continue hurting each other, we continue hurting our offsprings, we continue not getting out of this pain, not much will come out of humanity. Because humanity keeps hurting each other. Humanity is one big family. But it all has to start with a family unit. Where just because your parents went through that pain doesn't mean that you should hate them because they put you through that pain. No, you should get out of that pain. You should love your family. So it's like they're able to get out of that themselves. Because you know what, man? Taking the low road is not going to do anything special for anyone. Taking the low road is not going to help anyone. But taking I'm not, and nobody's perfect. And stuff. Life is a rainbow. Life is, any of that. But at the end of the day, someone has to start the cycle. And you know what, man? I was one of those people that started the cycle. I ain't bragging, but you know what? Hey, shit's painful, shit's hurtful. What, man? It's not pretty to have a parent hurt you and things like that. But at the end of the day, someone has to start that cycle and shit like that. Real shit. So shout out Shining Darkness, man. Real shit. Yeah, man. I don't think anyone really wants to live from a traumatic space. I don't think wants to live a painful life. But if pain and trauma has been done to someone, they will surely pass it on. Because for some reason, man, once people are traumatized, they almost start to get off. They start to get off of traumatizing other people. Where if a person is hurt, if a person is damaged, they start to get off mentally. Like it makes them high to hurt you, to cause you like drama in your life. These are very damaged people that in their everyday life that are damaged themselves. So now they mentally get off making other people hurt. Where like it's like that inner demon rub their birdman hands together. It's like I did that to somebody did that to me. Shit's fucking wild. But how long is this shit's gonna continue for? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like people know this subconsciously about themselves, but people just look the other way. Where it's like, you know, people know they're damaged sometimes, but people look the other way. Yeah, shout out to Shot in Darkness. Yeah, hurt people hurt people. Yeah, real shit. It's like they're damaged. People know they're psychologically hurt, but people avoid that shit because they would rather not deal with that shit because it's comfortable just to cope with it. It's comfortable to just not look at it. It's comfortable to just, you know, pretend it didn't happen, but it did happen. And the hurt is there, and the pain is there, and the wound is there. But the question is, will a person continue creating their life from the space of this wound, or will a person actually start to create their from a space of clarity, from a space of actually being their selves, from a space of living their life with integrity? That's the space I prefer to create my life from. And it's a very hard space to get into because not everyone is gonna appreciate you. And that's okay. Not everyone is supposed to do that. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Because that's the price a person has to pay just for being themselves. But it brings you joy. It makes you freer as a person. It makes you, get out of these mental shackles that was given and stuff like that, right? Because we don't want to live life from these mental shackles. I don't want to live my life. I don't want to live my life in fear. Where a person's nervous system, a person's mind starts to exert these impulses, starts to exert these fluids of be afraid, be worried, be scared. But why would I want to live my life from that space? Because I know I'm going to create an experience that I don't like. Because if a person is scared, if a person is not willing to be themselves, then a person is just gonna be afraid to be themselves, and they're gonna create situations where it's not necessarily for them. They're living their life for other shit. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, because think about it. If a person really trusts themselves, you would put yourself, I would put myself in the best situations, best circumstances possible because I like me and I want to see me be in the best space possible, internally and externally. But if a person is traumatized, if a person is damaged, if a person is hurt, then they're subconsciously not going to put themselves in a space where they're happy. Subconsciously, they're going to put themselves in situations where, it's painful. They're going to put themselves in situations they don't like a lot of people work jobs they don't like because they're pressured to go into these situations. They're pressured to work these careers because someone told them whatever they was doing as a child isn't good enough. They weren't good enough. Oftentimes our parents told us, hey, as a child, you're not good enough. Go do this. We'll create a job they don't like. A person might jump to a relationship they don't like. And now a person is in this cycle of reality that they don't like, but they have all these mental pressure where, they feel like they need to live this existence just based upon whatever subconscious programming may be going on in their mind and shit like that, right? So it's like, man, that's the thing though. A person has to deal with that subconscious program. Because just look at the thoughts and feelings that are bubbling up from the subconscious to the conscious. If these are things that are putting you in circumstances, situations that you don't truly resonate with, you don't like, then the subconscious programming has to be addressed. That pattern system, that wiring system has to be addressed. Because if that wiring system is not, then the person themselves is not going to be able to put themselves in a better situation because a person might truly not like themselves. A person might truly not love themselves. A person might truly actually believe that they don't deserve shit. Because a person as a child might have been told by parents that they ain't shit. So if a person believes that about themselves, they're going to create a reality externally where they're not shit, where not with people that don't value them. They're experiencing circumstances and situations that's in their favor and stuff like that. Because a person has been devalued so much that they put themselves around people, places, and shit like that devalue them in return. So it's like if people are coming from this damage where they have been devalued, it's like it's like getting a car but not truly appraising it to its true value. Where now you put the car in the marketplace, but putting it at its worth, at its what it's truly worth. So people don't know their worth. People don't know their value because their value, their worth has been devalued when they was kid. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I know when I was younger, shit. I mean, goddamn it, it's really interesting because you know what, man. A lot of the times people have different temperaments, thinking, different perspectives, and sometimes the child may think and feel differently than the parent, and this may create this conflict sometimes. A lot of times, parents may come from a very limited space, from a very restricted space themselves, from a very damaged space. So they just naturally pass on these influences that they carry within them to the child and things like that. Because you got to remember, energies is very real. Energy is very real. Next to someone, you pick up their energy. When someone is speaking to you, you pick up the vibe they have speaking into you. This is why we say we speak things into existence. A lot of the times, your parents could have spoke things into you, and now a person is playing out existence that's on their mind and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Shout out famous Mallow and shit like that. Real shit. So now, if a parent, because man, we are speaking things to existence from generation to generation, man. If your parents have been spoken into and things have been physically done to them that have damaged them and traumatized them, just what naturally does a person think their parent is going to do? They're going to speak things into them. They're going to do behaviors and actions towards them that are going to put them in that negative space. Because man, it's really weird, man. But sometimes, like you know what, man, it's like misery loves company in a fucking strange way. But like I said, man, if you're the person that has a damaged parent in some way, shape, or form, have grace for your parents because they don't know any better. Like when I talk to my mom and dad, I be learning, I be remembering and shit like that. Because you know what? When a person creates a point of view about their parent, my parents is negative, my parent is bad, shit like that, right? You limit every memory that you had with them that was good into a perspective of them being evil and shit like that, right? But when I talk to them and shit like that, when I learn more about them and shit like that, I be finding out like damn, like, you know what? I don't have the correct perspective and shit like that. I'd be lost in my own mind and stuff like that, and they'd be lost within their own mind. Because every time I look back, I'm like, you know what? Well, my parents hurt me. If my parent, did something negative towards me, they regretted it immediately right after. So there's no parent in existence that wants to hurt their child. That's literally a walking part of them and stuff like that. But because people are so traumatized, because people are so hurt, because people are coming from limited negative states of beings and stuff like that, they just naturally pass that on to the child and shit like that. So if you're in that position in some way, shape, or form, don't blame your parents. Give them some grace. You know what I'm saying? And get out of that space yourself. Because when a person gets out of that space, it also encourages the parent to get out of that space where it's almost like you see someone outside of you doing it, making it possible. So now a person themselves starts to believe that, okay, hey, this is possible for me as well. Where now we're actually touching each other's life. We're touching our parents' life in a more positive light. And now we're wrongs were done. We're turning these things into right because it's all about perspective. A person can have a perfect life. A person's parents can give them $1 million, but they might just still be in a negative state of being. So it's like it's just about having the perspective about these things, because perspective really changes the chemistry of our reality. Perspective changes the chemistry of our mentality of our body and stuff like that. It's like when you let go of that experience, or when you look in the mirror and you tell yourself, you know what, I love you regardless of the experiences you went. You tell that to yourself in the mirror, right? It's like it just allows you to feel different about yourself. It allows you to get out of that space where it's like a person doesn't have to resonate with at that damaged, limited state of being and stuff like that unless they choose to, right? But that's the thing, man. A lot of people choose to stay in that damaged, limited state of being, although they're very subconsciously aware that there's something going on inside of them. But like I said, man, parents don't really have the tools that we have access to today. Like, the internet, my parents didn't really have that. But I have access to the internet. I have the access to connect to people and stuff like that. So it's like, it starts like that and shit like that, right? So yeah, man, it's a really powerful time we're in. It's a very, very powerful, beautiful time we're in because let's like everyone has the access to heal. Although we are in a kind of a negative, weird world, you know what, man? Even though it's negative, even though it's kind of weird, we can still make it better for ourselves. We can still make it better for our community. We can still make it better for the people that are around us and stuff like that, right? And you know what, man? A person might heal themselves. A person might, go through all these things and shit like that. And there's still maybe people around you that are gonna be negative and shit like that, and that's okay because they themselves are working through these things, and through you as a vessel, they can start to work through these things as well and stuff like that. But I'm not hoping for that. I'm not praying for that. Hey, I'm just working on me, and anyone else who understand me and fuck with me is gonna naturally resonate with me and want to come with me with that direction and be like, hey, you know what, man? I went through that negative trauma. I went through that pain. I know what's it like going through down that negative path. But you know what, man? I see you doing it. I see you going through it. Let me do what you do and let me follow a new path. Let me carve a whole new reality. Because you know what, man? This is my reality. I have control of my mentality. This is my world now, baby. I'm changing my life. And and that's what I'm saying. It's all about just our lives. It's all about once we do that for ourselves, other people see that it's possible, start to develop thoughts and feelings about, you know what, maybe I could do this too. When I see the sunlight coming in the morning, I smile. I'm like, wow, you know what? Maybe today I can smile even more. Maybe today will be a better day, right? You said I love my family, but I want to stay away from them because they stress me the fuck out. All I want is to be at peace, but they bring me so much stress into their life. Yeah, yeah, I understand that and stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, I understand that. Everyone got stuff going on in their life. Everyone got like certain things that a lot of times parents may put certain stress on us. I understand that because my parents put me in those energies sometimes and shit. And sometimes I want to move out and leave them and shit like that. But you know what, man? It's like the more you can handle, the more you can do. And then it's like God can start to use you as a vessel in some way, shape, or form to really start touching people's lives. Because it's like changing people's lives, touching people's lives is a really, really rewarding experience. A lot of the times it's harder said than done because you know what? Um, a lot of people would rather just stay in that pain. But at the end of the day, doing the work on yourself, doing the shadow work, really loving yourself and just changing yourself is going to be rewarding for you. And you better believe it. You better believe it. The universe, God will put you in some circumstance situation that will match the energy that you're in and stuff like that. So you'll always be rewarded in some way, shape, or form. And there's no greater joy than just being your authentic self, living your life from a space of integrity and just not being scared, not being afraid of other people's reactions, of how other people are gonna look at you just by simply being you and stuff like that. I don't think, to me personally, it's a great joy. It's amazing because subconsciously, man, we're really doing the things our parents couldn't do because our parents, when they was kids, around their parents, they couldn't do certain stuff. So it's like we're almost doing what our parents says couldn't do when they was younger, and it's like they almost kind of, whether they hate, whether they like it, subconsciously, it's like because we was born through them and we was yoked out of that space that our parents were in as an energy and stuff like that, right? So it's like are born out of that space. It's like you're almost picking up where they left off and stuff like that. So it's like when I get into like spirituality, when I start to learn all these things, it's like I'm learning. It's like my mom sees me and she's like, subconsciously, it's like my child is doing the thing that I've wanted to do, but they can't say it because it's like a lot of times they're in that limited space and it's like they can't express it. But it's like I can see parents, my parents start doing new things. Hey, look, my mom is a Muslim praying 5 times a day. Now she listened to tarot card leader read line. That's something that Muslims don't usually do, right? But because her spirit wants to experience something new, she started to try learn about these things, go into those things, right? So it's like it's really wonderful to see it, but it's on a very subliminal level, and they're not gonna be able to like tell you it straight up, but they themselves want to get out of these things because subconsciously the spirit want to expand, the spirit want to experience a new reality. The spirit don't necessarily want to like experience this limited reality. So eventually some negative situation is going to happen where you might be the child that creates some type of rebellion situation with your family, and now you're showing them that, hey, reality is bigger than the world you put me in. Reality is bigger than this. Look, mom, look, dad, this is my world now. This is what I'm doing. And it's like it's going to create this internal conflict for them, but it's still going to be a way for God to use you as a vessel to show them, hey, life is bigger than the limited world that you are in and shit like that. Sean said that makes me think about, so if thoughts and feelings are being passed down, it's just like physical, emotional, mental illness is being passed down, certain mentalities being passed down. Yeah, exactly. Real shit. It's like everything, it's like handing down clothes, but it's like handing down thoughts and feelings, handing down mentalities that they pass on to us on the genetic physical level, and probably like on like the whatever they pass on to us when they're raising us and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. I inherited my family. They all correlate. So just handling these things, aka thoughts and feelings, and governing yourself within you can help overcome external, including your own perception on your family. Yeah, real shit. Real shit. I inherited my family's issues, but those things that they grew up with and like are the things I don't like. Well, you said I inherited my family's issues, but those things they grew up with and like are the things I don't like personally. Huh? Okay, interesting. That's an interesting perspective. Still, yeah, it's like it's wild, man. So it's out here. It's the wild wild west, right? Because a lot of the times you start to feel like, is your parents against you? Is my parents really for me? Do they love me? Are they against me? What's going on here? Like, are you really my dad? Are you really my mom? Type shit. Or at least that's what it was for me and stuff like that. But you know what, man? Once you just understand and process it, it's like it really just rings a bell, and it's like, damn, they're just traumatized. They're just in pain. Let me just understand that, and let me just start to give them a different perspective by giving myself a different perspective by just getting out of that space myself. So it's like, yeah, man, life is really beautiful. Life is really wonderful, but it's just that we make life really dirty, really ugly, really devilish. For what? Just because like we couldn't do something when we was kids, now we're telling our kids that they can't do something, that they got to do things this way. And obviously, it's not like they're doing this shit consciously. A lot of the shit is just subconscious, and it's like if a person doesn't have self control, if a person doesn't know how to self regulate themselves, they're going to be in these spaces of these energies of just passing these things on, but they really don't know what they're doing. So it's like a person is just in this cycle of thoughts and feelings where they don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to view it from a third person, be like, oh shit, this is the mind space that I'm in. Let me get out of this mind space because you know what? I don't want to reproduce that outwardly in the world because whatever cycle that a person is in, that's going to be their whole point of view. And that's going to be the things that they are externalizing to the world. Like if a person believe that this person is bad because of their skin color, they have a bias or some shit like that. That's what they're going to be telling other people. Hey, this person is bad. This person is bad. This group of people is bad and all this shit. So it's like, it's crazy, man. Of course, yeah, I like to think that we're all in the same boat. The boat being this planet we live in. Goddamn, you goddamn fucking right. Sometimes that boat be my mama's womb, goddamn it. But this boat, but you're right, goddamn it. That boat be this planet that we in and stuff like that. And it's like, why do we make this planet a worse place than what it is? Why not just make this planet a better place, just bettering ourselves? But you see how many people in the world are so bitter. You see how many people in the world are so damaged. So man, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just saying, we got a lot of information to push. We got a lot of knowledge to share. Because what? It all starts with us. And if we make ourselves better, then in return, we make a better world for our children. We make a better world for the world. Whoever jump on board. Whoever decide to jump and drown themselves, hey, you can't control nobody. You can't force nobody. The only thing you could do is embody the best of yourself, present that and share that to the world. And whoever rock with you. And that's all it is, man. You know what? That's all it is and stuff like that, man. Real shit. But you know what? It's funny because I just like literally was about to go to sleep and I felt like, you know what, man, I gotta share what's in my heart right now. I gotta talk about this because like it was running through my mind and I'm like, yo, I gotta talk about this family thing right now. Cause I just be thinking, as a child, I'd be devaluing myself so much, but I'd be realizing all the experiences that I went through are actually so valuable to someone else. So it's important for me to share this to someone because I know someone else is going through the same experience and stuff like that, right? It's like you start to think, you start to realize, damn, we're all learning together, we're all growing together, and the world is just bigger than our limited amount of reference. But because I limited myself, because I devalued myself when I was a kid, because I got devalued because of my, or I guess, so I couldn't live from a space of being authentic. I couldn't live from a space of integrity. I couldn't be myself. But hey, I got out of that. Now I'm learning slowly and surely to be myself more and more and present who I am without being afraid. Because, someone in the comment section right now might be like, you dumb motherfucking black guy. You're dumb, don't talk, blah, blah, blah. You're not intellectual. And maybe their opinion. That's okay. But I still have to go through that because going through a negative situation builds you up. Like, negativity is not necessarily a bad thing. Because if you really want that thing, if you really want to love yourself, then you're going to have to go through all the internal negative traumas and fucking like a football player and hit each slap those traumas away, slap these thoughts and feelings away, not give them any attention, not give that any awareness, so you can start to develop that new space to be in and to actually present that in the world display, to be that new character. So it's like, of course, people are going to be negative towards people that are just being themselves because other people don't know how to be themselves. But I mean, subconsciously, they might hate you, but hey, subconsciously, you better best believe they want to be like you. They just don't know how to do it. They're just afraid to do it. But yeah, man, that's the thing, bro. That's the fucking thing. So it's like we just don't have to live from this cold-hearted space. Just because something happened to us when they was younger, we don't have to live from this space where we're cold-hearted. We can start to open up our heart. We can start to just be more of ourselves. Well, I don't want to live a life of fear, man. I love myself too much. I think everybody should love themselves too much. Like you should look in the mirror and be like, God damn it, I look like sweet candy. Why the hell would I not want to taste me? Because I know other people want to taste me and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Look at that as like a lot of people hate themselves. A lot of people think they're not like candy. A lot of people think they're not. And people might say it, but the question is, do you believe it? Because the thing is, people say stuff, but they don't really have that internal belief. Because it's all of some people come to a space of ego, but it's really about having that internal belief and just believing, you know what, I can be beautiful. You know what, believing that, you know what, I'm a child of God. You know what, believing that, you know what, I'm not going to be a damaged person in a month, 2 or 3, if I just do the work and stuff like that, right? So it's like a person has to have strong belief in themselves because people really believe in, really put their faith, belief, and imagination into things that do not actually serve them. Their past traumatic experiences, people give that their faith, belief, and imagination, give that more power, give that reality power over them. But if a person develops a new belief, a belief that empowers their reality, a belief that changes their life, then a person can actually put themselves in the space of reality to generate a new reality via their mentality that can completely create a paradigm shift. But self honesty is important because if a person is not self honest where they are, I mean, I have a lot of friends that are not honest about where they are. Hey, let me call myself out. I used to be very dishonest about where I am. Why am I scared to be myself? So, but if I stayed in that space, I wouldn't be, growing. I wouldn't be developing. I wouldn't be here laughing and smiling with you guys. Be somewhere shaking in my boots, you know, saying somebody saved me because I don't have the power to save me. But I'm here smiling, laughing because I did some work to a degree, right? So it's really wonderful. It's really joyful. And hey, it's we just gotta do the work on themselves and stuff like that. You said, I'm glad you did choose to share. You too shine, and negativity and positivity comes from within, not from shit. Or rather, it is within ourselves that we filter out the positivity or negativity. Within ourselves, we choose whether to receive it or not. Real shit. They use their own magic against themselves rather than working with their faith. Yeah, real shit. It's like magic is a very real thing. Very magical. You could be like next to a person at the mall or wherever you are, and they could be living a very magical life. But why is that person living a magical life? It's because they believe in their magic. They believe that they have the power to create their reality, and they use it to create a reality that they enjoy. They use their magic to create a reality that they love. But a lot of people use their magic, use their mind subconsciously because the programs they received to create a reality that they do not like, they do not love, they're around. In fact, they use their magic to resonate with people, attract circumstances, situations, be around people, places, and just do things that don't truly resonate with their character, with who they are authentically and stuff like that, right? But so it's like magic is a real thing. Thank you for bringing that up, Shine. That was a very powerful point because you know what, man, the world is magical, and as I've experienced changing my belief system, as I've experienced changing myself, I started to attract new people into my life, go to new places, do new things that I actually wanted to do when I was a kid. But you know what? People will tell you not to do certain things, not to be a certain way, because someone told them not to be and do that themselves. They just pass that belief on to you. And what's that belief? Don't be yourself. But hey, why the hell would I wanna do that? I'm a chocolate man. I'm from East Africa, and god damn it, I'm fucking McLovin it. So you should fucking McLove yourself too, right? Ain't nothing wrong with that. Hey, and not everyone's gonna fuck with it, and that's cool. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're just supposed to be yourself to resonate with people that are being themselves. This way you guys come together, create a beautiful new reality, a beautiful circumstance, a beautiful situation. And that can look like a song, that can look like an art piece, that can look like it can look like a high five. But you know what? That high five is gonna be bad as fuck. Better than any high five in existence. Just because you're in that space of actually of self-love, of beauty, of truly being yourself. So that high five is gonna come from a fucking authentic space, man. Real fucking shit. Hashtag space, man. It's beautiful to see you flourish. Fear ain't shit. Yeah, real shit, man. Yeah, no. Fear just really lives in you, or someone can put that in you, impregnate that in you, and now you have this energy of fear that a person is carrying around with them, and they identify with that energy, so they create their reality from a space of fear, where it's like a person is no longer living their life from a space of internal beauty. A person just creates a reality they hate. And as a human society, I think it's really our job. And I mean, I'm not trying to put anyone on the mission. This is just my mission. This is just my purpose and stuff like that. Because a purpose in life really allows an individual to guide themselves into a better existence, into a better reality, into a segue, into a new highway, right? And a purpose really allows a person to direct their energy, direct their awareness, to really be mindful of how they approach their minutes, their seconds, their hours in a manner that cultivates this identity, in a manner that cultivates this reality of, you know what, I want to live live a life of purpose. Because if it not only does it also help others, but it's a vehicle for you to experience you, and it's also a vehicle that allows you to exercise you, for lack of a better word, the exorcism shit, because you're literally fasting from these negative mentalities, these negative thoughts and feelings that are not allowing you to be you. But when a person is doing their purpose, they're not paying attention to these things because a person is like, you know what? I want to be strong for my purpose. A purpose is transforming you. Like a flower has a purpose. A flower blooms, bees come onto that flower, they pop. I don't know what bees do. They're exact something. So this whole existence is a coexistence, is an ecosystem. And we're either gonna ruin this ecosystem or we're going to create an ecosystem that actually benefits each other. It doesn't have to be global. It could just be on the level, on the community level. It could just be on the friendship level. But hey, some people have an ecosystem of misery. Some people have an ecosystem of pain. Some people have an ecosystem of mutual respect, mutual value. Shit like that, right? Because it's like if a person hates themselves, if a person is living their life from a space of fear, then autumn ecosystem they're participating in is going to be an ecosystem that devalues them, an ecosystem that doesn't actually see their worth and value. But it all starts with that person seeing their worth and value so they can actually participate with other people that, have that well. So it's like, hey, yeah, high five, Sean, real shit. So it's like, oh man, yeah, like I said, even talking here, this is helping me too. So it's like when you're doing your purpose, you're literally exercising your feet. It's like every time you do something you're scared of, you're punching that demon in the mouth. You're like, hiya. Then that demon is like, oh shit. That thought, that feeling, that mental pattern is like, I don't have power. I'm losing control. Oh my God, away from you. Because it's like literally a spirit that we resonate with. And that's when the Bible they call a familiar spirit, where a person has familiarized themselves and resonated so much with the with a pattern that they don't know how to create a reality outside of that pattern. But when a person is able to separate from that pattern and see things for what they are, because a lot of people don't see reality for what it is. It's just reality. And we're just looking at it from our own point of view. But what gets in the way of that point of view is the thoughts we have in our mind and the feelings we have in our mind. That gets in the way of looking at reality for what it is and shit like that. It's just reality, and we will always participate with people based upon how we participate with ourselves. So hey, it's like the universe is perfect, reality is kind of perfect because it's really like you will always be at the circumstance, situation, at the environment externally based upon who you are or where you are internally. Because nobody would put them in a circumstance situation where they're devalued, where they're hated, unless they're in that space as well, right? But like I said, it all comes from the space of that trauma. It all comes from the space of that pain. And once a person deals with once a person deals with that pain, deals with that trauma, they're able to now create a reality from a new space of awareness that is devoid, that lacks the substances of influence, that lacks the thoughts and feelings on their mind that makes them create that reality, shit like that, right? So when a person is able to let go, those thoughts and feelings are also able to let go, right? But here's the thing, though: when a person really changes their pattern, a person also has to understand that it's not this instantaneous thing where you pray or you look in the mirror, you tell yourself "I love you," and then your whole reality changes. It's not magic is real, but it's not like magical like that. It's almost like a slow motion fall because like whatever a person resonate with as a group of thoughts and feelings as a pattern, when you're no longer participating with it, giving it attention, it's always going to try to bring you back into that reality. But it's like a slow motion fall. Look at it like a person has a demon or a devil inside of them, and this demon and devil is causing them to create a reality that doesn't is not truly authentic, is not truly them living from a space of integrity or self-love. And now when they're detaching from this thing, it's like a slow motion fall where that mentality, that awareness, that bubble in our sphere of awareness is falling off the cliff, but we have to let it fall off the cliff. Be like, you know what? I'm good, bro. I'm not trying to co-create my reality with you no more. Hey, homie, I'm trying to create something you, my dog, because you know what? I feel the best of the best. And a person should really believe they deserve the best of the best. Because why don't you deserve the best? I deserve the best of the best. I think everybody should deserve the best of the best, right? Everybody deserves a nice slice of the pie and shit like that. But we live in a world that creates the perspective of abundance, so people believe they don't deserve a nice slice of the pie. There's a pie for everybody. Earth is a big place, yet we are forced to look at it like, hey guys, there's a lack of abundance. The government tells us shit like lack of land. Oh, we have to move into these congested cities and stuff like that, right? Somebody lying because There's enough food, there's enough fruits, there's enough abundance. So what's the narrative? What's the rhetoric that someone is trying to, you know, send out, and for what reason are we being lied to about the nature of ourselves and the nature of our reality? Because someone is telling us there isn't enough. When I look inside of me, I'm like, there isn't. When I look externally out in the world, there's enough for everybody. So why are we programmed in such a way to seek a survival based behavior where we resonate more on the animalistic nature to the point that we have people summoning demons like anger, jealousy, hatred, envy, all these mentalities that we bring out into the world, like greed and shit like that, to the point that people want to take so much from others. People want to take more for themselves, but they believe, but because they're in that mentality, they can't see it no other way. So it's like, who the fuck is opening all these portals? Who the fuck is putting all these humans in these spaces to even make them create these realities and pass these things on? Just what in the motherfucking hell is we bringing into existence, and why the fuck is we living in hell, creating hell for everyone else around us? This shit is motherfucking crazy. Shit is motherfucking crazy. Shit fucking boggles me as shit. I really hope you have a blessed night. You get to reach as many people as possible. I saw immediately, and I can't wait for more. Appreciate you, real shit. Shout you out. Before I go, I just hope to say that that last part is the hardest part for most people to swallow. When their prayers don't come true immediately without effort, they become discouraged. Yeah, brother, real shit. Appreciate you, man. But yeah, man. With that being said, I think I'm done for the night. I've been on here for an hour. I just honestly, I had it in my heart to come here and just talk about this and just put this out here and just share this with people. And that's all my intention was for tonight. I gotta wake up tomorrow and go to work. Love everybody. Peace out. Work on yourself, and we will all be where we need to be. Peace.